Rights to freedom is dead. We're coming to get our check.
Black First brothers and sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, leave a thumbs up, do all of that because all of that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. We are on our way to 10K. Thanks to you guys. I appreciate you so much. Now, yesterday was the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, and I'm going to play a clip of a bunch of people. They went down there to commemorate the march. They went down there to kind of replicate things. They gave a speech. His children, Dr. King's children, his grandchildren, they went down there to give a speech. I'm just going to play a little bit of it so you can actually see kind of what it was like. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The crowds may not be as large as they were in 1963. The sentiment is the same. This is a march for racial and social justice.
Thousands marched from the Lincoln Memorial to the King Memorial.
Now, with the March on Washington, the only thing that people ever talk about is the "I have a dream" quote. The whole speech, they only talk about one phrase, which was this right here.
My poor little children,
Now, what's interesting about that is that they don't ever talk about anything else that happened in that exact same speech. If this is the speech they love so much, the "I Had a Dream" speech and the March on Washington, if they really loved it so much, why do people never mention this?
we can never. We cannot be satisfied. From a small to a large. We can never be satisfied. By signs stating for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as
Now, right there, this is where Dr. King kind of shows that even though he was advocating for voting rights, he was advocating for Black people and having the ability to vote, he was not just saying Black people should vote just because. Like when he said people in New York have a reason to vote, he's saying they have nothing to vote for. Just because you can vote does not mean you have a reason to vote. If Dr. King was alive today, Dr. King would not say just vote just cuz. Now we know there's an election coming up, and we're going to have people quoting Dr. King, quoting the people from the civil rights movement, saying that our people died to vote, so you have to vote and vote blue no matter who. It doesn't matter. You just have to vote because your people died and you have the ability to vote, so you have to vote for the Democrats. That's what they're going to tell you. Or even vote for the Republicans. That's what they're going to tell you. But the thing is that Dr. King, when he was advocating for voting, he was not just advocating for the ability to vote. He was advocating for the ability to vote and then a reason for people to vote. Right now, we're saying we're not voting without any tangibles. You guys don't want to do anything for black people, but you need the black vote. That's not going to work anymore. We're not just going to vote because we have the ability to vote. You guys need to do something to earn the vote. That's what Dr. King was really about. People don't really talk about that. And that was in the exact same speech of the I Have a Dream speech. That was in the exact same speech. Now, when he was talking about, black kids and white kids all getting along, okay, we understand that. But another thing that they don't talk about is his interview, not even a year before he was assassinated by the government, his interview where he kind of broke down how he thought that his I Had a Dream speech and his mission and what he was pushing, he thought that was negative. I'm going to play a clip right here.
1963, 9 years after the Supreme Court's decision to be in the March on Washington, meant a great deal. It was a high moment, a great watershed moment. But I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments, and I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go on the whole question of racial justice that has existed since the founding of our nation. I think the other thing that we must see at this time is that many of the people who supported us in Selma, in Birmingham, were really outraged about the extremist behavior toward Negroes. But they were not at that moment, and they are not now, committed to genuine equality for Negroes. And I think we are in a new era, a new phase of the struggle, where we have moved from a struggle for decency, which characterized our struggle for 10 or 12 years, to a struggle for genuine equality. And this is where we are getting the resistance, because there was never any intention to go this far. People were reacting to Bull Connor and to Jim Clark rather than acting in good faith for the realization of genuine equality.
Now, a lot of people say things have changed, things have gotten better. White people aren't as racist as they were back in that time. Things are getting better. Even if it's slow, things are getting better. But the thing is that last interview, and I can't play the whole thing because I don't want this channel to get flagged with a copyright strike or anything like that. So I recommend that you guys go actually see the whole interview. But my thing is this: if you brought Dr. King back today and he was to see all of what we're going through today, he would say a lot of what he said in that last interview that I just played. He would say a lot of that. He would say things like, the dominant white society, they pretend to care for the black cause and for black issues, and they have a thing of, they don't want to see the violence of it. They don't want it to be as ugly as, violence and racism really, really is. Like, for example, George Floyd. you saw a whole bunch of people who never said anything ever about black issues. You saw them, Black Lives Matter, we love black people, I'm so sorry about racism, we hate racism. You saw all of that, a mass amount of people who never spoke on black issues before. They were like, oh my God, black people, I'm so sorry, dude, I care about you, Black Lives Matter. They saw that. And then the second the uprisings and all that started to kind of go down, they started deleting the BLM hashtag out their bios. They started going back to their old racist ways. And you see, what's more important is that the same people that were like, oh my God, we got to end police brutality, defund the police, and we care about black people. If you ask them about reparations, they would say no. Majority of those people who are like Black Lives Matter, majority of the white allies that 2020 made it seem like we really had, majority of them would say no to reparations. Why would they say that? Is because reparations is going to change the status quo. They might not like seeing stuff like George Floyd because that was just a horrendously gut-turning, ugly video. They might not like seeing that, but the thing is that they don't want the status quo to change. If the George Floyd situation, if that was not recorded, they wouldn't have said anything. It's only because it was recorded and it went viral that they said something. Stuff like that happens all of the time. And they don't say anything the other times, not before or even after they quote unquote realized how racist America was. A lot of them were saying, oh, I just didn't know. I didn't know. It's so bad. I just didn't know. And then afterwards, you see constant police killings of multiple other black people, and they're not saying anything because they don't see it, or because it didn't go as viral as the George Floyd one did. They just don't want to see it. It's not that they want things to change. They don't really want things to change. Dr. King recognized that. And if Dr. King was alive today, he would say the same thing. Dr. King, he recognized that all these white people who are marching with us, who are saying they care about black rights and all that stuff, they don't really care that much. They care up until the point where things actually start to flip. You know, they want things to look peaceful. They want things to look nice and civil, but they don't really want a complete change of the status quo. They really don't want that. So when they bring up Dr. King, this is who they need to be bringing up. This is the context that people need to be speaking on Dr. King and his legacy and the March on Washington and all of that. This is the context they need to be speaking of. And of course, we can't leave this without playing this clip right here.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Now, all of the people who claim they care about Dr. King and love his legacy, even his children, why do we not see no mass media pushing this clip? They'll talk about the I have a dream and loving everybody and voting for peace and all of that. They'll talk about that, but they don't talk about this clip right here. They don't talk about his idea about reparations. Now, when black people, when we're turning up as a result of anti-black racism, they'll say, oh, well, Dr. King, he preached against violence. Dr. King didn't approve of violence. They want to quote Dr. King when they want to pacify black people, but they refuse to quote Dr. King when he was talking about reparations. This is the biggest clip that they need to be playing, especially in today's time, but they're not playing that because they honestly really don't respect Dr. King. They don't honor Dr. King. They don't appreciate all of Dr. King's sacrifices. They just want to use Dr. King's legacy and they want to use his name so they can get some type of benefits for themselves. That's all they're trying to do, and to pacify the rest of black society. But when you actually tell the truth about who Dr. King was and what Dr. King's agenda and mission really was, it completely changes what they're trying to tell you. Brothers and sisters, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you think about the March on Washington? What do you think about Dr. King? What do you think about what they're doing? Let me know that in the comment section below. Also, you should be following me on my various social media pages, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on Twitter. Please do not forget, hit that subscribe button. We just passed 8K. We're this close to reaching our goal to 10K. We definitely can do that. Hit that subscribe button so we can make sure we get that done, please, and thank you. I appreciate you guys for being on board on this mission. Now, with that being said, my brothers and sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all, and of course, you all have a good one.